Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and welcome back to another build video. It's been quite a long time since I did one of these, but of course Title Update 12 dropped yesterday on December 8th, and so of course I had to come back and make a new build with some of the new pieces of gear. This season, Season 4, is very focused around skills, and so this is a skill build video using a lot of the new items. It's pretty powerful. I don't know what else to say. Like, a lot of this stuff is very good, and in culmination, I'm able to achieve, yes, you are reading correctly on the thumbnail, in total, I'm able to get 315% skill damage on this build that buffs up my turret. That's the main item here in the build, and it just deals an insane amount of damage. It allows you to go through legendary content, I don't want to say easily, I don't want to pitch this wrong, but you are going to be able to solo stuff like legendary on, whatever, whether it's one of the strongholds or on the summit, you can go through that content as long as you're patient, as long as you play smart, and as long as you get the right pieces together, you're going to be able to do it with ease. So as long as you're willing to go out and play some of the new content to get some of the new pieces of gear for the season, then you're going to be able to get all this stuff together pretty quickly and be able to jump right in using this build and clear some of that content. So without further ado, let's take a look at what the build entails. Alright, so let's get right into it. I want to start off the bat with my weapons. Even though this is a skill build video, I do want to let you guys know that this weapon will probably be the hardest part of this build to acquire if you are just coming in fresh to TU12. This is the brand new Capacitor Exotic Assault Rifle, and if you don't know, the way that you obtain this is by completing 5 different challenges on one summit ascent. If you didn't know, they added challenges to the summit now, and so within your run of 0 to 100, if you complete 5 of these, they have some short-term ones and some longer-term ones, then you're going to get this exotic AR for free. So I was able to do that. I had a checkpoint at floor 80 before TU12 dropped, and I went in on, as soon as the update went live and completed those last 20 floors, did 5 challenges, and I got my capacitor. If you're down, in the bottom, 20 floors or whatever, it's probably going to take you a little bit to get this. If you do not have the means to, currently get the capacitor, but you still want to try this build out, then I highly recommend going with something that has in sync, whether you use the new test subject AR that is perfectly in sync or just a regular gun that has the normal version of the talent. That is going to be a very similar and very good substitute for this gun. But if you have the capacitor, then definitely use that. If you don't know what it does, it's that shooting enemies builds up stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage, and after 5 seconds, stacks decay by 1 per second. Additionally, for each skill tier, you gain 7.5% weapon damage. So, it's a pretty good gun. It's basically Striker for skills. And then it gives you, if you get all of your stacks up, you're going to get 60% extra skill damage. That's a hefty buff. So if you have the means of getting this gun, definitely go out and get it. It's going to help you a lot. But again, if not, just get in sync, and that'll just, basically give you the same idea of what the buff of this does, just at a lower, stat value. So that's for my primary. For my secondary, you can really use whatever you want. I just have a gun with preservation, so that if I'm able to finish someone off with this gun, I can get a little bit of healing if I need it. But again, run whatever you like. For my pistol, I'm running the Maxim 9 because I'm using the Technician Specialization. It has Perfect Spike, obviously a very helpful talent. I don't always, pull out my pistol to use it, but it's just a nice thing to have if I, remember it and use it for whatever purpose. Now that we cleared that stuff out of the way, let's jump down really quickly to the turret to show you guys kind of the stats on here. We have a duration of 311 seconds. That's a lot. 5.5 million health. The damage is at 111,000. and that's obviously with a tier 6. And now that is very impressive on its own. But that's not even considering the large amount of buffs that we're able to get from multiple sources on this build, and we will get into that shortly. I'm using the Technician specialization, kind of a must run in my opinion for this build. I mean, you could run something like the Demolitionist if you want some better turret mods, but really you guys should run the Technician because that allows you to also get the Artificer Hive, which is what I'm using on here. Basically, if you don't know what it does, you put it down next to yours or your allies' skills, and it shoots out charges that buffs them up. In this case, it gives you a 70% buff to your damage as well as some other stats. So that's major. That's major, major. And it heals your skills by 84% of their total health every time it shoots one of these charges out every 10 seconds. So on content like Legendary, where the adds deal like crap ton of damage and they're going to kill your turret, this keeps it alive for the entire fight. And you'll see that in some of the gameplay. So again, this is kind of a must run. You kind of should run Technician so you get the extra skill tier. You can run one roll of armor and you can get this Artificer, which just buffs everything up by a ton. Alright, so now that we covered that, let's jump back to the gear. What am I running? Well, I'm running the brand new gear set for Season 4 called Rigor. If you don't know what it does, the 2-piece is 15% skill haste, 3-piece is 15% skill duration, and the 4-piece is Tended Befriend. Interacting with your deployed skills grants the skill 25% skill damage for 10 seconds. This buff cannot be refreshed, and then it notes that interactions include using or deploying the skill, changing the skill's target, and healing the skill. So, when you use something like an Artificer Hive that heals up your skills, you're going to have a very high uptime on Tended Befriend, which gives you a lot of skill damage at 25%. But I'm also using the chest piece of this gear set, which its amplification talent takes that damage buff from 25 to 50%. So that's an additional 50% buff every time you either heal up that turret or you change targets or anything. It's going to give you that buff. It doesn't refresh, but as soon as it's done, you can just pop it again, and it's going to be very nice, trust me. So let's go through what I have rolled on these pieces. It's pretty obvious what I'm going to have. I have a skill tier and then skill damage. You're going to want skill damage on all 6 pieces. That's how you're going to hit that really high skill damage value. And then a skill duration mod. You could also go for skill haste if you like, but I think skill duration is nice just to have that super high uptime. And then we already went over that I have the chest piece, skill tier, and a skill damage with a skill duration mod. Holster, skill tier, skill damage. The backpack, I'm using the Acosta's Go Bag Exotic backpack. Now this is another one of those buffs that I was talking about that's going to let you hit that over 300% skill damage threshold. So if you don't know what it does, basically when you throw a grenade, it gives you overcharge if you're already at tier 6. So overcharge in the case of the turret gives it, 55% additional damage. Yeah, so that's another 55% damage buff. That's equivalent to basically what you're getting off of the chest piece and the capacitor just instantly if you throw a grenade every minute for 15 seconds. So that alone is major, but then you also factor in that you're getting an additional buff to the Artificer Hive, which goes from 600% charge efficiency to 700%. That's going to be, I'm bad at math, but that's probably, upwards of 80%. So you're getting extra damage there, extra damage from the turret every time you throw one of these grenades every minute, because there's a minute cooldown on that overcharge throwing. And it refunds the grenade that you throw. So you're never going to run out as long as you only use it when when your buff is ready to be used. Then you're never going to run out of grenades in every minute. This is just a, 15-second buff you're going to get. The rules on this come static for everyone. It's a skill tier, skill haste, skill damage. And I've just put on a skill duration mod onto that one. Last 2 items here, the gloves, again, a rigor piece with skill tier and skill damage. And then for the knee pads, I have 1 piece of Wyvernware, which is giving me 10% skill damage for the 1-piece brand bonus. I've armor rolled on here because the Technician gives you a free skill tier. So I would definitely recommend some armor. If you're tackling that legendary content, you're going to want that extra bit of survivability. And then I just have health and skill damage. I'd probably rather have a crit roll on there or something, but it doesn't matter too much. Just something on there as well as skill damage. Alright guys, and that's the build. Before we jump to the conclusion or any other, gameplay that I'm going to show at the end, I do have one little demo I want to give you guys just in the middle of combat, kind of how you might want to play this set on Legendary if you are solo in order to really get the maximum potential and maximum safety. So we're going to play that really quickly, but yeah, as long as you guys can go out and get these pieces, like I said, it's not too hard now that Season 4 is active. You're going to be able to get this together pretty quickly as long as you can get the capacitor or some other substitute. This is a very simple and basic set that you can put together that's really going to give you a lot of return, a lot of benefit, and it's just super fun to use. So let's jump to that demo really quickly. Alright, so as you guys can see, I'm now at the second part of the Roosevelt Island mission on Legendary. I mean, for any of the difficulties of the second part. Really just what I want to get across is that, yes, while this build is of course incredibly powerful as far as your skills go and how much damage your turret can deal, positioning is still very important. You know, as with any build on legendary content, it's going to be the hardest content of the game. The ads are going to hit hard no matter how much or how little survivability you actually have. So positioning is still, of course, very important. So I'm going to show, like, ideally what I would do here is stay behind this cover, because this is, you know, covered from everything from the front. They can't flank me, and then if I need to, I can retreat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my turret up on this little bit right here so it has some elevation. It can see some of them when they're higher up on the sides. And then I should be pretty safe right here to be able to get my shots in with the capacitor and really just stay behind cover and out of the line of fire. Yeah, and it's going to go to town. This is just what's so nice about this is you can set yourself up, make sure you're not going to get hit, you know, take those precautions before you enter combat, and then as soon as you do, really just let your turret take the bulk of everything while you pop a few shots in to get your capacitor stacks up and just let everything go to work. It's really nice. And what's great, and you might have noticed in the gameplay before, is you can see the health on the turret is going down, because obviously these ads are obviously hitting very hard, right? But the heal from the Artificer Hive is just so good that it heals it back up right away. So your turret's practically never going to die. You would be very hard pressed to find a situation where the ads are actually going to kill your turret in that 10-second span before you're going to get another charge from the Artificer. And so that's just even more confirmation that, you know, you're going to be pretty darn safe when you're using this, as long as, you know, like I said, you position yourself very well. That guy really pushed up on me. But yeah, so as long as you're smart about it, play smart, you know, play patient, this build is really going to pay off for you, and you're going to be able to get some really hard content done pretty easily. Alright guys, and that is going to do it for today's build video. I am going to play a few more clips of gameplay that I have after this. I have a little bit more on Roosevelt as well as a bit on Capital, so enjoy that. But yeah, this build is really fun to use. You are really going to feel like you are the king of the skills once you put this together and you have that turret out there just taking down enemies left and right on Legendary. You know, that's not an easy feat, so it's pretty fun to use. And like I said, when you get all those buffs active, you know, from the Rigor, you know, 4-piece, from the capacitor, from your overcharge, all that kind of stuff, from your Artificer Hive, and you get that 315% skill damage threshold, you're just going to be mowing people down, so it's a ton of fun. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on to be updated every time I upload. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on the build, if there's anything you would change about it if you were to run it, and if you have any questions regarding anything in the video, I would be happy to discuss and answer. Thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the footage after this. Have a great day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.
Vital signs critical.